friends, welcome back to my channel. Erika.tesla here. Today I'm going to be chatting about the Odin's Eye holiday palettes. This is the Christmas Eve palette and we have the Merry Christmas palette. These were released last year around this time and they sold out very quickly because let's take a look inside. They're gorgeous. So we're not really surprised that these just sold like hotcakes, okay? And so people have just been demanding for Odin's Eye to bring them back. And I've seen the comments, okay? Y'all are funny because I will look at their socials and look at the comments when they've had different releases and people say, but when are those holiday palettes coming back? Re-release those holiday palettes. So I think we're all really happy Odin's Eye was listening to their customers because not only have they released these two, but there are two additional palettes coming out. Now I haven't decided which, if any, of the two new ones that I'm getting, but I was really excited to be able to do a couple of looks for you with these palettes because if you're doing YouTube, of course you do your makeup for your personal enjoyment, but it's kind of hard to share things that are discontinued with an audience who won't be able to use them, and it definitely makes it harder to get folks engaged if they're like don't feel related to the content. So for that reason, I was really glad to see these particular palettes that they are coming back and that people who have wanted a chance to get them will have that opportunity. I think November 10th is the release date, so I'm either releasing this the day before or the day of, and hopefully there will be enough stock in place for you to get your hands on the palettes that you want. So there are going to be 4 palettes. We have the OG palettes, and I'm gonna actually pull up the information on the Odin's Eye website because there are 4 palettes that they are releasing and they're so pretty. Okay, so we have the Snow Dream palette, the Hey Reindeer palette, I have Merry Christmas, and I have Christmas Eve. And each of these palettes is going to be retailing for $43.90 US dollar, sorry. I recommend checking the conversion rates if you were not in the US, because I'm not really sure what the I'm not sure the conversion rates. But anyway, I think that these are so pretty. I mean, I am really, if I were to get any of the new ones, it would probably be the Snow Dream palette. That one is just really appealing to me, and it has another gorgeous red shade in there, like the Merry Christmas palette. The Hey Reindeer palette is also very pretty, but I'm looking at it on Instagram right now, and I'm not sure that for me it's saying Christmas time, holiday time, but that is so personal. And so that is the thing about makeup. It is personal to everyone. So I may not be the biggest fan, but that might be the one that you are looking for. So I hope that if you have been interested in getting the OG palettes plus the new ones, you are able to do that because these holiday releases can be crazy. But it's nice though. It's fun when you can get excited about a makeup release because we are oversaturated. So I give a lot of credit to Odin's Eye for putting something out that is exciting to so many people. It's unique for the market, and they just have like a really lovely shadow formulation. So I'm always happy with the outcome of my looks with my Odin's Eye palettes. Maybe one of these days I'll do a collection video, but that being said, these I did purchase myself last year. So happy for folks who can get them. Thinking about at least one of them when the launch opens up. So we will see. All right, so I'm gonna go into some swatches for you guys of these existing palettes, and we are gonna keep it moving, so keep watching. So let's do Christmas Eve. So we have the shade Snowflake. We have the shade Ice Crystal, the shade Silvery Dream, and then the shade Nightfall. Just Now. Then we have the shade Snow Light, Christmas Eve, so pretty, and Blue Ice. Leading Time, we have the shade Nowhere, Wonderful, and Softly. Lemon Tart, which is this beautiful matte. We have the shade Gorgeous, which I have on my eyes, and then Night Sky, and then on my elbow, because I'm so good at this, Blue Star. So I'm gonna like try to get my face out of the frame so you can like see the shades. So this is the Christmas Eve palette. So blue, jewel tones, some golds, some cool golds, some mustardy greens. It's just a really interesting color story. Okay, so now I'm gonna swatch the Merry Christmas palette. I'm gonna start up a little bit higher so I have enough space on my arm, but oh my gosh, look at that shade. That is Elf Wish. Like, look at that shift. Then we have the shade Matcha Cookies. I've never had matcha cookies on Christmas, but I like that green. And then we have the shade Jingle Bell. And then we have the shade New Leaf. So that's the first row. Snowman. Then we have the shade Best Wish. Then we have Christmas Tree and New Year. Okay, so we're coming up on one of my favorite rows of this palette. This is a Little Star. We have Gingerbread, Bless, this is the shade Bless, and then we have the shade Poinsettia, excuse me, Poinsettia. Like, look at that red, so beautiful. Okay, and then the last row we have the shade Hot Cocoa. We have the shade All Right. We have the shade Happy Ending. And then finally we have the shade Santa Star, which is this really pretty gold shade. So that is the Merry Christmas palette, and I'm going to show you these swatches. They're not perfect, but I hope they give you an idea of the color stories that you guys are potentially going to be purchasing. Okay, so I had to switch out my battery pack, but back to business. So those were the swatches for the Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas palettes, and let's go ahead and get into a few looks. Confession, I have not even had a chance to use this palette because I bought it with the hopes of using this on my channel, and then it was gone and they weren't going to bring it back. But now that this is coming back, we're going to do a look with this palette first, and I'm so excited to try this one. I have no excuses for not using this more often and sooner because it's just such a beautiful color story. I did do a look with the other palette, but yeah, I'm gonna see, where do I want to start? This is so pretty because you could do a few color combinations, but I'm really excited to try this color Christmas Eve. I have the Kaleidos Tone Activator Eye Primer. I love it. It's like liquidy, it's not too thick, and it really holds the makeup on. So I'm gonna start with the shade Christmas Eve, which is like this deep blue, and I'm gonna work this on the outer part of the lid. As you can see, I am dabbing. This is just a color pop brush, but I am like dabbing the color in because I have creases. I say this in almost every tutorial that I talk through on YouTube. I have the creases. So I want to blend that in. And that is just so pigmented. And we'll go back and clean up any fallout with either makeup remover or concealer. But look how pretty that is. That is so gorgeous. Next, I'm going to go in. So this is the shade Christmas Eve. I'm going to go in with the shade Ice Crystal. And it's this gray. And guys, I have a weakness for gray eyeshadows. Like, I love gray eyeshadows. Like, I find them, for me personally, I like the way that they look on me. So I'm going to apply it in here and also use it to kind of buff out the edges a little bit of the Christmas Eve color. And this is so pigmented, guys. Like, I should feel bad that it took me this long to use this particular color, but like the way that I like to apply my eyeshadow, I like to work with deepest shadow into the lightest shadow the further in I get to like my nose, the bridge of my nose, just because I find for me that it makes my eyes look a little bit bigger. I'm not opposed to doing like dark all over the lid, but in general for like a more open look, I like to keep the lighter shade like in here in the inner corner of the lid, or the inner part of the lid. So I'm just like blending, guys, and as you can see, like I just want to keep this soft. I am going to clean this up. It's just, I like to keep things diffuse, and I'm going in here with my color switch brush sponge in between shadow application, because that way it keeps it clean. So I'm just softening, blending, and I might go back over, but I like that it kind of gives a little bit of a blown out look. And then, guys, like, oh, which shimmer do I use? This is the hard part. This is the hard part, because Odin's Eye has like these really gorgeous shimmers, but I'm thinking of going in with the shade either Blue Ice or the shade Gorgeous. Ooh, I think I gotta do, look at Gorgeous. Like, it looks purple, but on the finger it's blue. So I'm gonna go with the shade Gorgeous. I'm just gonna like put that on this part of the lid. That is so pretty, guys. That is literally gorgeous. That is so pretty. And I'm doing this with my finger because I just like to get that fully saturated effect. Really, really pretty. I mean, you could do so many looks with this palette, guys. So that is so pretty. Okay, and just to finish this look, I'm gonna go in with this shade Nightfall, which is like this mid-tone, kind of sky blue color. Really, really pretty. And I'm just gonna use that here on the bottom lash line, just to kind of like give me something at the bottom of this look. And then finally, I think I'm gonna use that shade Blue Ice, that pale blue. And I'm gonna go in the inner corner with that. And wow, that is so pretty. That's so pretty. So we'll zoom in on that. You can see that is the first look. Just using like 4 shades from that palette. And then I'm gonna go in, I'm only gonna do like one look with this palette, guys, but it's too pretty not to do another one. And I'm looking at the other tones in this palette, and I'm really intrigued by the shade Softly just now, and like this like golden theme. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Softly and kind of use the same technique or the same approach as before, where I just go in on the outer part of the lid with like the deepest color of the color story that I want to use. And this is such a pretty olive green color, guys. This is so pretty. Okay, and I'm doing my color switch thing again, and I'm gonna take this shade Just Now right here, which is like this medium green, and I'm gonna go in here. And kind of blend that in. And I'm going back in to re-establish the Softly shade. But we're blending them together. So we're getting kind of like a greeny look on this side. And guys, I can't resist this shade. It says Fielding Time. Now I heard there were like some typos on some of these. I'm assuming it probably means Fleeting Time. Fleeting Time. It happens. I don't mind a typo as long as the shades are pretty, and we're gonna just put that on. Oh my gosh, that's so pretty, guys. This is why people were upset that these palettes went away and didn't come back for like a whole year. Because look at how pretty that is. That is so gorgeous. So these are just like quick looks, guys. And then I'm gonna go in back with Softly. That's that kind of poopy green, but we like it. It's like a khaki army green color just on the bottom part of the lid. And then last but not least, I want to go in with the shade Snow Light, which looks so pretty, guys. And I'm going to put that on the inner corner. And that is like super pretty. So those are the two looks, guys. So we have this blue look here. And then we have a green and gold kind of look here. And obviously you can, you know, mix and match themes and color stories and things like that. But yeah. Oh, it's supposed to be Fleeting Time. So the names are printed correctly on the back of the palette. Yeah, this is what I need to use more. So that's two looks. I'm gonna clean this up, and then I'm gonna do a look with the Merry Christmas palette. Actually, I'm gonna do a look with two looks with the Merry Christmas palette. Okay, I am now going to do a couple of looks with the Merry Christmas palette, and I have used this one. I've dug into this one when I first got it. I did a couple of looks with this, and I did kind of like more of the pinky tones. So I want to go in on this like green side a little bit more and do some more like greeny tones. So I'm gonna start with the same brush that I had before. I did clean this with some Cinnamon Secrets. It's dried off, and yeah, you know what I'm thinking I'm gonna do is just like an all over the lid. Yeah, I want this matcha cookie shade, this green, and I did reapply the Kaleidos eye tone eye primer. So I'm gonna put this all over the lid. That is just so pretty. I love this shade of green. Like, this is a shade of green that I would probably wear all the time. All the time. Like, not just Christmas time, but I love shades like this. Like, I'm literally just going in all over the lid with this because it's so pretty. And the thing with these palettes, you just have so many options, guys, as you know, which is why these went viral and people have been like begging for these to come back. And I'm excited for people that wanted these to get their hands on them because they are really, really nice palettes. Like, I like the Odin's Eye formula a lot. Okay, now I have a decision. I think I'm gonna go in with the shade Jingle Bell, guys, because this is another gorgeous shimmer and it's got this like cool dimension to it. Do I want to do this? Yeah, I want to do this one. Look at that. So I'm just gonna like put that on top of this. And blend that in. And yes, there's some fallout because these shimmers are a little bit flakier. Like when I talk about different textures of shimmers, like some are really soft and they're not necessarily going to give you like that like punchy boldness that this one will, but they're softer. And so with this one, I like to apply these with my finger just to really get that in there, because again, I'm trying to get those creases situated, guys. Okay, and now I'm gonna go back in. Okay, I'm gonna go back in with a little, yeah, matcha cookies again. I'm gonna do it because I'm just gonna do a really easy look here. That is so pretty. Okay, and then I'm going to take this shade Snowman, and I cannot resist an inner corner highlight. It's not for everyone, but that is so pretty, guys. Like, look at that. Look at that. So pretty. Like, do you see that? Do you see that shimmer? Super pretty. Okay, so that's one look. Now we're gonna go in. Ooh. I'm gonna do something with the reds in here. That's the next thing that I want to do. So I want to go in with the shade Poinsettia, which is this like matte red, guys, and it is so pretty. And we're gonna tap that in. We're gonna get the red look and just softly blend that in and tap it in, and you can build the pigment, you can build the color. And as you can see, a little bit is going a long way, my friends. Okay, a little bit's going a long way. And then I'm going to go in with a different brush, and then I'm going to use the shade Hot Cocoa. It's like brown but red, like it's burgundy, and I'm going to put that to deepen the outer V a little more. Just a little bit of that. And finally, so I'm trying to keep this simple, guys. I want to go in with the shade Santa Star, which is this, it's just a straight up like pretty gold shade. Like, look at how bright that is. So I'm going to put that on there. Oh my God, guys. I'm not even trying just hard. Like right now, I'm just like playing around just so you guys can get an idea of the color combos. Okay, so I do apologize. These are not like the most artistically precise looks, I'll say, but look at that. You get an idea of like just the range of like colors and tones in here. And I'm going to go back in with Hot Cocoa just to go underneath. So I'm going to take a pencil brush and I'm going to go in with the shade Hot Cocoa here. And I promise to zoom in, guys. And then I don't really need like a inner corner color, but I think I'm going to take this shade Little Star here, which I did really dig into when I was using this palette. And it's this very pretty like iridescent shade. I'm going to like tap that in here and really build that up so you guys can see. So that's 4 ideas, 4 inspirations for you. So there's the green, some greens, like the really fun like chartreuse shades. And then we have the reds. Okay, and you can imagine how beautiful this would look with like some lashes. Okay, Again, not the most precise, but just give you some inspo. Okay, guys, so I'm going to take this off and I'm going to come back and do like my look because after I'm done filming this, I'm going to pick my kids up from school and we have things to do. And I wish I lived the kind of life where I could wear 2 eyeshadows on each eye. I don't think people would judge me too harshly, but there might be some confusion. So I think it's best for all parties if I put something on both eyes. So I'll be back with that in just a second. Okay, so I'm gonna do one last look and I wanna use the Christmas Eve palette. I have to say between the 2 original palettes, this is probably my favorite color story. I think they're both incredibly gorgeous. And I'm gonna go back in with this gray, guys, because I love this shade so much. And I have an idea. I think I'm gonna do like maybe like a halo eye, but I'm gonna put this in the crease. I'm gonna tap this in and really put those colors in there. And I'm actually using Angelica Knit this brush. This is the Singe Beauty E03 brush. There are so many pretty brushes coming out right now, guys. BK Beauty has a new collab with Nikki LaRose, I think her name is. I just discovered her channel like right before the collab was announced, and she's super talented. And then I think there's like another brush sale happening with oh my gosh, Refer brushes. That's what they're called. Refer brushes, which are super good. But I do like Angie's brushes a lot. And I am just really going ham with this like gray eyeshadow. I'm going in there. I'm going for it because I really want to have like a softer shade on the outer part. One of the things that I've noticed is when I go in a little high with my eyeshadow, I just prefer a lighter shade closer to the brow when it's really dark, even if I diffuse it. I don't know. I'm not always in love with that. Okay, then I'm gonna go in with this shade Nowhere, which is another pretty grayish shade. I feel like there's like a little touch of like purple underneath there. Like it's so subtle. And this is a BK Beauty 203 brush. I love BK Beauty brushes as well. And I'm just, oh yeah, that's pretty. It's like a taupey, purpley, mauve-y color. It's very muted, very pretty, very dusty. And I'm just bringing that on the outer part. And you can see, again, I'm just like tapping and blending, tapping and blending. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this eye. And this is usually my process. I have so much admiration for people who can do one side and then move on to the next side, like for the sake of symmetry. The way my brain processes like information, it's just a lot easier if I can do the same thing at the same time, because leave it to me to probably forget like what I did the first go around. And again, because this is a halo eye, I'm going to go in on this part of the lid with the shade Nowhere. And I love the name for this because it is kind of like a nondescript color, but in a good way. Like you need those like kind of neutrally colors to anchor looks. Like at least that's what I like to do. And then leave 1 or 2 shades to kind of be that pop. And then I'm taking Nowhere and I'm gonna connect it like this. Because my lids are hooded or have become hooded with time, sometimes I find myself having to like look down and let the eyelids unfurl and unfold so that I can like get into the crevices and creases of my eye spaces. So it's interesting how your makeup routine changes as you get older and how certain techniques evolve. and how it's like so unique to each person. Okay, and then finally I'm gonna go in with another Singe Beauty brush. This is the E01, and I want to deepen the outer V with, I'm gonna go back in with the shade Christmas Eve again. This is such a pretty shade of blue, and I'm gonna just tap this and blend it as well. And just have a little Bob Ross moment on the eyelids. Just, you know, tap that in there, tapping and blending, tapping and blending. Because I just feel like my eyes, the skin, it just like moves around so much. I just cannot get away with just swiping the color on there. The skin just like does its own thing. It's got its own life. That went in really pigmented. So we're just blending that as well. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the shade Nowhere. I'm going to put some on the other side of the lid as well and just blend and continue to blend and kind of refine it until I get to where I want it to be. So I'm going to again tap this in there. And look how pigmented that is. I had a good amount still left. And there we go. And yeah, it looks a little wild right now, but what I love about Halo Eyes is like they always come together in the end when you put that like very pretty statement shade. And I'm gonna again do this thing where I kind of look down but let my eyelid unfurl and unfold so I can connect those shades. And I'm gonna wipe the brush in the color switch here, and that way it'll remove some of the pigment because I'm just interested in like really blending at this point. And even though these colors blend together up close, I can still see each of the shades that I've laid down so far in their respective zones, if you will. So I'm blending that, and then I'm just gonna, where I feel like I need to work the color in, just add that as needed. And the thing with the Halo Eyes, like the little empty space does not need to be perfect, okay? It doesn't need to be perfect, but okay. So now I'm gonna go in with a Sigma brush. This is actually a concealer brush, but I like these like flat brushes for not just concealer, but shading as well. This is the F70, and I want to go in with the shade Wonderful. I have not used this shade yet, and it is this very pretty pale lilac color, and I'm going to put that as my center lid shade. And this brush is doing what it needs to do, because look at that, like it's giving that shine. That is so pretty and so shiny. And pulling the color down and pressing it in, and I'm doing all the things, and I like that this brush gives me some control. It's a firm brush, so I can be precise with where I am placing the color, and it's also doing a nice job collecting it from the pan, holding on to it in the fibers, and then applying to the lid itself. So I'm getting the pigment that I need, because sometimes with shimmer shades you want to use your finger so you can really get in there, but this is doing a nice job in my opinion. And I'm liking how that's coming out so far, and I'm going to keep adding a little bit more till I am satisfied with that. I really like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in with the Singe Beauty brush, this E01 brush. And now that I have placed my shimmer, I'm going to go in and like deepen in this Christmas Eve shade. I'm going to go back in and work these colors in together so there's a nice transition, a nice blend. I'm back in with the shade Nowhere, and I'm tapping that into the crease. And blending, blending, blending. And yeah, sometimes what I'll do is I just go back and forth till I get everything where I want it to be. So I'm taking a little bit more of Wonderful, which is a wonderful shade, and trying my best to get some kind of symmetry going. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in with the shade Christmas Eve on the bottom, and I'm basically going to kind of replicate the halo on the bottom. So I'm just gently applying the shade in the halo pattern again on both sides. And I don't want the color to necessarily be dragged down. So I'm going to take this like really, I'm going to see how this like little flat shader brush goes in here to put Wonderful on the bottom lid as well. And that's working out okay. That's not bad. That's not the worst. We're all learning together. And blending, and see, I can see here, and this is not that eyeshadow's fault, but again, the creasing, I'm always having to do just a little extra zhuzhing and working the shadows in, because I had it crinkled on the side and the color did not get in there, and it happened. So I'm just building that in there and packing that in. And this is, I think, a challenge that could be intimidating for people with crepey skin, and trying different types of eyeshadow techniques. It can be a little overwhelming. It does take more time, honestly, to work those shades in. Okay, so I'm going to line, mascara, lashes. I will be right back and we'll talk about these palettes. Okay guys, so this is the finished look. I'm gonna zoom in for you guys to see how this look came out. So this was my take on a kind of holiday halo eye with the blue shades and the shimmery tones in the Christmas Eve palette. So yes, I am a really big fan of this palette, guys. I think of the two original releases, this is probably my favorite color story. I have just been enjoying cool tones so much. And then the Merry Christmas palette, it is just so pretty. It does give you that kind of warm, fuzzy feel of the holidays. And so I'm really excited for folks who missed these two palettes the first go around to get their hands on them. So yeah, I think that if nothing else, definitely try to get the OG releases. If you can only pick one, I would have to say the Christmas Eve palette would be like the one if you are thinking like, I gotta stick to a budget. The other two palettes, the let's see, Snow Dream and Hey Reindeer. Okay, so of the two palettes that are going to be released, or released as of the filming of this video, it depends on when I get this uploaded, I would say that the I would say that the Snow Dream palette would be my favorite of the two newer palettes, and then the Hey Reindeer palette, very, very pretty. But I'm not sure that for me personally, and this is my personal opinion, that it evokes the Christmas spirit. And I am somebody who does celebrate Christmas. So for me, I have certain family traditions and things like that that I have celebrated. And so that is just my personal bias. That does not mean that it is not a gorgeous palette, because it is so pretty. And I really appreciate when brands take a different take on holiday, like when I see brands doing kind of like mints and pinks, kind of like lighter iterations of red and green for Christmas. I think that is so cute. Or when they do like the icy colors, things like that. So there's a lot of different ways to enjoy the holiday. So that's just my personal opinion. So if I had to pick just one palette, it would be the Christmas Eve palette, because that's just my favorite color story. If I could pick two palettes, it would be Christmas Eve and the Snow Dream palette. If I were gonna pick three palettes, it would be Christmas Eve, okay, Snow Dream, Merry Christmas, and then I think last on my list would be the Hey Reindeer palette. Like that is the one, that's how I kind of mentally rank the four palettes as far as like what my favorites and what my preferences would be. But I think that no matter what you pick up, you're gonna be happy, because Odin's eye formula is just so pretty. It's fun to work with. It's fun to play with the different finishes and the colors and the textures and things like that. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think, what you think you're gonna pick up. Leave me a comment down below, and make sure to like this video, guys. Like it helps me kind of know if this content is like interesting or helpful to you. And finally, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really, really appreciate it, because when I do manage to upload, hopefully you guys will get notified of that if you hit the notification button. With that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with me to talk about this release. I thought this would be such a fun opportunity to talk about these palettes, because like I got them, they sold out, and then I was like, oh, well, I could post a video, but a lot of people didn't get it. And so here we are. And so I'm wishing you good luck and happy shopping for this release. I hope you get everything that you want. And I'm wishing you luck on the holiday season in general, with all of the sales and all of the fun releases that are coming out, because it is kind of hard to boil it down and choose. But yeah, if you're going to choose, I wish you luck with the discernment in that process. So that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching, and take care. Bye.